Now getting back to development issues for a second, we're talking about the balloon track. There seems to be some competing use of the words cleanup and what different people mean by that. Obviously, the Security National Arkley folks think a basic remediation of the sites meeting the minimum standards under state law is sufficient for a cleanup, basically capping the site like they did to the Adorney Center, which was also a brownfield site before they built the community recreation center there. Do you think that's a sufficient level of cleanup, or do you think the environmental groups are talking about a full characterization of the site, a full deep cleanup of the soil is more appropriate?
Well, we're getting back into the stalling issue here. Okay, you have the national EPA, then you have the state EPA. They have minimum requirements for cleanup. The state EPA has their minimum requirements. The Arkleys want to spend as much money as possible to meet those minimum requirements plus more. They want to clean up the site 100%, then they want to build. While the groups who are opposed to building anything in our city, just to keep it the way it is because they have their money and they don't care if anyone else has money, they are the ones who are bickering about this. The Arkleys are 100% in favor of just spending as much money as possible, digging everything down, meeting the maximum requirements of our state EPA. They're willing to. But it's those businesses who are opposed to it, specifically the Pearsons and those interests that are associated with the Pearsons, that are bickering about this.
Do you think there's any comparison between the balloon track development proposal and what some people call Forester Gill, named after the company, basically the Ridgewood Heights subdivision they want to put in down there between Ridgewood Heights, Cut and Pine Hill area? Huge subdivision with commercial, office space, residential, and the city council seemed to have a rare moment of unanimity where folks on the left and the right were all saying this is outside the city limits, it's going to create severe traffic impacts on the city, severe impacts to the city's water, wastewater system, and that it would be parasitic on the economic developments of businesses in the city. Did you find it a little strange that they find this development to be parasitic, but that the balloon track one wouldn't be, or do you think that's apples and oranges?
No, I think that's apples and oranges, and once again we're getting to the fact that the whole piece of the pie is building houses for people, generating income for the economy. It's the whole piece of the pie, and it goes through an economic circle. And the balloon track has the same people who want anti-growth as any development, anti-growth. So you're going to have those people who are like, no, we don't want that traffic, blah blah blah. Whether it's marijuana dispensaries or anything, there's going to have the bad influence of people here and there. It's going to bring in traffic. It's going to cause this. It's going to cause that. It's just that they are all anti-growth. It's a complete economic circle, and you need to have them. You need to have one piece of the pie. You have to have the other piece. You have to have the other piece. You can't just have like a certain piece of the pie and not the other pieces. That's how it is. And I think the city did a good thing. It is county property, and I think we need to annex the entire area here surrounding Eureka and make it all one big city so we can have a uniform city and we won't have any bickering. But
well, that would take it out of the county's hands, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, it's not a matter of it's the county's hands or the city's hands. It's the whole community it's everything, whether it's Arcata, McKinneyville, here. It's just that we need growth in the entire area. Right now we have HSU sustaining our economy. We can't have that.
Your opponents have discussed in somewhat positive terms the $500 campaign contribution cap on individual contributions to a candidate's campaigns here in Eureka. It's going into effect in 2011, but a lot of the candidates this year have said they'll voluntarily start implementing that early on their own campaigns and not accept more than $500 from any single source. Is that a pledge you're willing to take?
Yes, it is. It's a pledge I'm more than willing to take, and I understand why it should be implemented. There's no reason why in a local economy up here that people should be spending thousands of dollars on their own agenda to get elected. What is at stake? The overall theme of any politician in this area is to improve the quality of life of every citizen, not to meet their, quote, special agenda of anti-growth or whatever they want, like anti-dispensaries, anti-this, anti-this. We should just have, quality of life for every citizen. There shouldn't be like an anti-growth people, on one side. There shouldn't be the baykeepers on one side, the tax people on one side, the anti-homeless people on one side. We should all unite. And I agree with the $500 spending cap. There's no reason why we should spend, thousands of dollars.
And finally, there's been a lot of discussion about a true ward voting system. It does seem a little weird, Eureka system. I can't find any parallel for it elsewhere in California. Most cities are like either Arcata or Fortuna and have at-large seats where 2 or 3 of them come up in every election cycle, or they have real districts like your supervisor's district, where each district has its own representative that only they elect. Do you think Eureka just kind of has to jump one way or the other and either pick a real ward system or get rid of it altogether?
I think Eureka should just get rid of it altogether. Have elections for the entire city. Everyone should vote on every candidate. Because what one candidate stands for or does in office affects every citizen of Eureka, not just certain citizens and certain citizens. It should just be done away with.
Marshall, anything else you'd like to say to the folks as they go to the polls on November 2nd?
Well, I would just like to say thank you very much, and I hope to be your mayor, and I once again want to improve the quality of your life, and that's all I want to do.
Well, Marshall, thanks for coming into Has-Beens to speak with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Carol.